This is the preview and review, Module 1.1, Chapter 1, the first section of the first module. In this section, as you can see on the table of contents, there's three parts to it. One is the speaking and listening part, the dialogue between the instructor and the students and between the students themselves. And it involves greeting and response to greetings, telling someone your name, saying goodbye, etc. The second part of this explains some of the aspects of the phrases that you've been using or will be using in class, namely how is an equational sentence structured, and talk about a little bit about gender. So there are different forms for you, whether you're addressing a man, or you, whether you're addressing a woman, female. An equational sentence is a sentence in English that has the verb to be in it. So I am John Isley. In Arabic, it would be simply Ana John Isley. Ana is the pronoun meaning I. Of course, the name follows it immediately. There is no need to use the present tense of the verb to be in Arabic. It exists, and it's used in a certain context, but not in a present tense, regular declarative sentence. There are other aspects that we'll be talking about too, or using, namely the yes or no question words. The number of question words that we'll be using. So, for example, when you say ma ismuka, mesmuka, what is your name? That's ma is a question word. Hal is also a question word which does not exist in English. It's when in English you put the verb first or an auxiliary verb first to ask a yes or no question. For example, do you know the way to San Jose? Have you seen my book? Are you an American? Things like that. And finally, the introduction, the beginning of the introduction to the Arabic alphabet, the first four letters of the Arabic alphabet, alif, ba, ta, and tha. Let's get started. The first thing that you'll do in class, the first thing that you'll learn in Arabic is how to say hello and tell someone your name. Page 3 of Chapter 1 contains the dialogues that you'll be practicing in class in Arabic. Of course, you probably can't read these since you don't know the alphabet yet, but if you go to the appendix at the end of Chapter 1, you can find the transliterations of these things. Let's do that, and so you're going to get a chance to take a look at some of these phrases before you start using them in class. This is how the first group sounds. Ahlan wa sahlan. The response is Ahlan wa sahlan bika. So that's Ahlan wa sahlan is hello. Ahlan wa sahlan bika is response hello. Ana ismi Muhammad, masmuki. Ana ismi hiba. Ana ismi Muhammad, I. Ismi, my name. Muhammad is Muhammad. Of course, there is no is in this sentence. Masmuki. Ma, what? Is, name. Ki, your. What is your name? Again, there is no verb to be. Ismi hiba. Ism, name. My, hiba. Ismi hiba. The response then when you first meet someone is to say, Tasharrafna. And they would say, Tasharrafna bika. Or Tasharrafna biki. Tasharrafna literally means to be honored. Ana min Tunis, min aina anti. Ana min al-Yaman. Let's go through that. Ana, I, min, from, Tunis, Tunisia. So I am from Tunisia. Min aina anta. Min, from. Aina, where. Anta, you. From where are you? Where are you from? Ana min al-Yaman. Ana, I. Min, from. Al-Yaman, Yemen. Again, no verb to be. Ana min al-Yaman. I am from Yemen. Ahlan wa sahlan. Response, Ahlan bika. So when you say hello to someone, it could be say ahlan wa sahlan. During the conversation, as you're getting introduced to each other, you can also repeat ahlan wa sahlan, hello, hello, etc. Now, let's, in class we'll be working on this. The instructor will ask you a question, these questions, and then you simply respond. Note that oftentimes it's simply, you will be echoing what the instructor has told you. So the instructor will say, Ana ismi Muhammad, masmuki, what is your name? And then you simply say, Ana ismi, and then put your own name right after that. Let's go down to the bottom of the page, getting to know someone better. هل أنت أستاذ هنا؟ لا أنا طالب. وهل أنت طالبة هنا؟ هل أنت أستاذ هنا? Are you a professor here? هل is the question marker for yes or no questions. Remember, in English we would switch it around. Are you? هل أنت أستاذ, professor or teacher, هنا, here. Again, remember, أنت أستاذ means you are a teacher. هل أنت أستاذ? Are you a teacher? لا أنا طالب. No, لا أنا طالب. I am a student. So أنا, I, طالب, student. I am a student. وهل أنت طالبة هنا؟ و, and, هل, question, yes, no question marker. أنت, you, feminine. طالبة, student, female student. هنا, here. Are you a student here? نعم أنا طالبة. فرصة سعيدة. فرصة سعيدة. إلى اللقاء. إلى اللقاء. So the question is, هل أنت طالبة هنا? Are you a student here? The answer is نعم. Yes. أنا طالبة. I am a student. So لا is no. نعم is yes. فرصة سعيدة. A happy occasion. When you meet someone for the first time, it's nice to say this phrase. Forsa means an opportunity or an occasion, and sa'ida means happy. Forsa sa'ida, and you can respond forsa sa'ida. Now, here's the first way of saying goodbye that we'll learn. Ila al-liqa. Ila, to or towards, al-liqa, the meeting. So when we meet again, until we meet again. And the response is simply the same thing. إلى اللقاء. Now this is really formal greeting. It's used mainly in at the end of a news broadcast or at the end of a formal speech or something like that. It's really not used everyday speech, but it's important to get to know it simply because you will encounter it. And you will not be using it that much every day, but get used to it, get to know it, and then file it away. So إلى اللقاء. Module 1.1. Part 2, language notes. This is the kind of grammatical explanation behind the phrases that you've been learning in class. First one has to do with an equational sentence. I mentioned before that I am a student in English is called an equational sentence. It uses the verb to be in some form or another. أنا طالب is that kind of an equational sentence in the present tense for Arabic. However, there is no verb to be. It simply juxtaposes one noun with another, and it's understood that it's an equational sentence. It's important to know that there is a verb to be in the present tense, but its use is restricted to certain other contexts. Present tense verb to be, simply you don't need it. So things like I am, you are, she is, they are, you don't need the verb to be in the present tense. Number 2 here is masculine, feminine, gender. Note the way that these things differ, whether you're addressing a male or whether you're addressing a female. So, mesmuka is what's your name, addressing a male, and mesmuki is what's your name, addressing a female. Anta, you, addressing a male, anti, addressing a female. Ustad, a professor, for a male, masculine, gender. Ustada, female or feminine gender. Talib, a male student. Taliba, a female student. Number 3 has to do with the question words. So most of these question words are simply one-to-one reflexes of the question word in English. So aina means where. Ma is what. And the third one here, however, it has no equivalent in English. That's hal. It is a marker put at the beginning of the sentence to indicate a yes or no question. Remember in English that we would put the helping verb first or the main verb in the sentence first. Are you an American? Do you have a light? Things like that. Fourth part here is prepositions. These dialogues contain one important preposition, namely min. Ana min America. Min is a preposition meaning from. Exactly like prepositions in English, they precede the phrase, they indicate location, direction, time, sequence, and other notions. And this is important for later use. They are particles, meaning that they are basic and non-derived. They do not change their form in the sentence. Now, before we get into actually writing the letters and learning how to write the letters of the Arabic alphabet, it's important to kind of give you a little overview of what the Arabic alphabet is like. First of all, again, as you may well know, the Arabic alphabet is written from the right to the left, unlike the English, which is the opposite direction. The letters are cursive, meaning that they have only connected forms, and while some may not connect to what follows, occasionally you'll get one form that'll be, a letter standing out there unconnected. By and large, Arabic is cursive. There are no block letters in Arabic, and so it's as if there's only handwriting in Arabic and there's no printing as you might have in English. The letters in the Arabic alphabet are ordered according to their shapes as well as their sounds. We'll briefly go over that in the next page, but it's important to note that it's easy to learn the order of the Arabic alphabet because similar shapes are grouped together. The other thing having to do with its being a cursive script is that a letter may have a slightly different shape depending on whether it starts the word, is in the middle of the word, or is at the end of the word. Very often this simply involves dropping off the final tail, the final piece of the letter, shortening it a little bit. The core shape of the letter is still there. Something has been slightly taken off if it's in the initial or the middle form. And the final important point to note about the Arabic alphabet is that short vowels are not written generally with the word. There are diacritics, and we'll learn them in the very first lesson, to note the three short vowels a, u, and e. However, in general, they are not written, and you should get used to reading a text and writing without writing the vowels. However, when you are studying the vocabulary, I urge you to practice writing in the vowels so you know how it sounds. Okay, so there's two important points here, is that when you practice your vocabulary and practice writing at the beginning, you should practice it with the short vowels. However, when you write normally, you will not write with the short vowels, and you have to be able to read without the short vowels. And it seems hard at first, however, if you just think about the way that you do texting and things like that, you leave off the vowels, you use shortened forms, it's kind of similar to that. And what makes it easier in Arabic is that Arabic words follow a set number of patterns. Basically, a pattern is kind of like it rhymes with other words in a way, kind of an internal rhyme. We'll learn about that later on. Page 5 contains a summary list of all the letters in the Arabic alphabet, including how they vary from place to place in the beginning, middle, at the end of the word, and by themselves. So this is what we'll go through in the next few weeks. Take a look over this chart briefly. Don't spend a lot of time on it because you're not going to learn it this way. But note that they are grouped according to their common shape. So the first letters, Aleph, it's the first letter in most of the alphabets that originated in the Near East. Bat, Ta, Tha, they all share that little tooth or canoe shaped. They're also all pronounced at the front of the mouth. The J, Ha, Kha, again, share the same shape, and they're originally pronounced towards the back of the mouth. So the Jim was originally pronounced G, so it would be G, Ha, Kha, and Jim is still pronounced G in Egyptian dialect. Dal, dal, again pronounced at the very same spot behind the teeth. One is a stop, D, and the other is a continuant, the. Ra, za, pronounced in the same area. Sin, sheen, both of them are sibilants. Sod, dod, ta, da are what are called in Arabic mufakham, pharyngalized consonants. They're pronounced with the throat, with the back of the mouth or the upper throat being pulled down in some sense. So you get an all sound. It's an important characteristic of Arabic speech. Ain, ghain, again, same shape, similar place of articulation in the way back of the throat. Fa, qaf. Here's where the analogy breaks down. There is no similarity in the place where these things are pronounced, so forget about that. Kaf, lam, mim, nun, he, waw, ya. And if you notice something about that, K, L, M, N, U, you'll note that they are in the same order that the Latin alphabet is in, the one that we use. So K, L, M, N, and then U, the wow representing U. So take a look at this kind of stuff. We'll work on the hard to produce sounds for you, and they would be things like the ain sound in the middle there, and the ghain sound, the qaf sound, the q sound, and the pharyngalized consonants, well, the sol, dod, ta, and da. Page 6 of Module 1.1 contains a summary of the various shapes of the first four letters of the Arabic alphabet, alif, ba, ta, tha, and your instructor will go over this in class. This is also contained in a video recording appended to this video, which is much more detailed in showing you how these letters are formed. And you don't necessarily have to go through this in the preview, but I suggest that you review it once it's been presented in class. At the bottom of the page are the short vowel diacritics, and these are very important in learning the language, in notating it. However, they are not really used in everyday writing or printing, and you have to learn them, although you will not see them all the time. There are 3 vowel qualities in Arabic and 2 vowel lengths. The vowel lengths are long and short. The long vowels are written with a letter of the Arabic alphabet. You are learning one of them in this lesson. The A, the alif, stands for long A sound. The long U and the long E sound are written with slightly different forms, and we'll learn that in the next lesson or two. The short vowels are A, U, and E as well, and they're written with what we might call diacritics above and below the line. The fatha is a short line above the letter. The dhamma looks like a kind of 9 leaning on its side. It's very small. And then the kasra is a slanted line underneath the letter which it is associated with. In addition, there are 2 other diacritics that are very important to know. One is the sukoon sign. That means that the consonant does not have a vowel. It's pronounced without a vowel. So if it were a shadda over a consonant, means that it is doubled. It's important to note that in addition to having long and short vowels, Arabic has long and short consonants. The long consonants, we call them doubled. And they are marked with a shadda. Shadda means intense, and it basically doubles the length at which you hold the consonant. So for example, if you had baba, the second ba is not doubled, but if you have ba, the second ba is doubled. Same thing with batta versus bata. So you can hear the lengthening of the ta in the first one. Batta versus bata. Now, the next section includes an example of the in-class drill, which is done for you. You can take a look at it and how it's done so that you'll be able to do it better in class. And then the final section, as I said before, is I have appended a video in which the writing of the alif, ba, ta, tha are explicitly described and exemplified. If you want to, you can look at that before class, preview it, but it's going to be much more useful if you look at it after it's presented in class. Page 7 contains drill 1, practicing the letters alif, ba, ta, tha that you have learned in class. The following section contains a video of how these are actually done. Let's take a look at that, and I'll pronounce the words as they're being written. First of all, we have alif, ba, pronounced ab. Nextly, we have ba, alif, ba, bab. Note that the alif does not connect to what follows. Third, ba, alif, ta, bata, bata. Next is ba, ta, tha, batatha. 3 short vowels, fatha, fatha, and fatha. Ta, tha, ba, ta, tha, ba, ta, thi, ba. Next line is the, ba, ta, with the vowels pronounced the, bu, ta. Next line has ba, ta, tha, with the vowels pronounced bat, ta, tha. Note that the shadda increases the length of the ta. Next consonants are ta, tha, and ba, pronounced with the vowels teth, bu. Note that the th has no vowel, so it's pronounced teth, bu. Tha, ba, ta, pronounced with the vowels thab, tu. Again, the ba is written with a sukoon, so it does not have a vowel. This is the indented shape of the first letter of the Arabic alphabet, alif. It is a simple straight line drawn from the top to the bottom on the line, and it is one of the taller letters in the alphabet. The alif represents a long A sound, a long A. Alif is associated with another consonant, a kind of a irregular orthographic symbol called Hamza. Hamza represents a glottal stop. A glottal stop is something that you might use in English at the beginning of a word that begins with a vowel, I, or in the middle of a word when spoken quickly, like batten, Latin, patent, or at the end of a word, cat, hat, if you don't release the T sound. It may also be written, when it's written above, it can represent an U sound or an A sound, and we'll get to that in a second. But it can also be written below the line, below the alif, where it represents an E sound. This is the Hamza, which is associated in the Arabic dictionary with alif. So we'll see more about Hamza later on. It is a somewhat irregular orthographic symbol. This is the symbol for Hamzat al-Wasl. It's a different kind of Hamza. The first type that we saw was Hamzat al-Qata, which is always pronounced like a Hamza, like a glottal stop. This is a Hamza which may be dropped in certain places, not pronounced. The next group of 3 Arabic letters are all based upon this canoe-shaped form. The first one is the letter ba, where the dot is below. These are distinguished by where the dot and how many dots are placed around the canoe-shaped object. Ba, be below, the dot, 1 dot below. The next type is the letter ta, where two dots are placed on top of the canoe. Think of two, ta. This is the letter ta. It's similar to the English letter T, but with much less aspiration. So where in English you might say T, note the aspiration. In Arabic you would say D. An alternate writing of the two dots is as a simple line. This is the ruqa script. In the following we will be giving examples of both the first type, which is more like naskh script, as well as the ruqa script, which is common in Egypt and the rest of the Eastern Arab countries. The third letter of this type with a canoe-shaped object is the letter tha. It has three dots above the basic shape. Tha, three. Think of tha, three dots. In the ruqa version, the three dots are connected and form a pyramid. Tha. Tha. Let's connect our letters now. Arabic letters differ depending upon whether they're in the initial position. They may differ depending on whether the initial position, the middle position, or the final position. Here, the ba is in the first position, ta is in the second position, and the tha is in the third position. In the final position, these types of letters generally have the full form, but they're connected to the previous letter if that letter connects. In the first and second positions, it's simply one little upright tooth, as they say, sin, and these connect to the following letter. Ba-ta-tha. Ba-ta-tha. In the ruqa version, it's the same basic underlying shape. However, here the three dots for the tha are a pyramid, the two dots of the ta are a straight line. Ba-ta-tha. Tha, ta, ba. Ba-ta-tha. Ba-ta-tha. Tha, three dots, ta, two, straight line, ba. Tha, ba, ta. Again, the same underlying shape, but with the dots placed in a different order here. Ta is the final position, ba is in the middle, and tha is initial. Thabata. So generally, you complete the basic underlying shape of a letter, of the word, write all the letters, and then you go back and fill in the dots, or with the ruqa script, the lines. Thabata. Ta, straight line, ba, and then the three dots are connected to form a pyramid. Thabata. Thabata. Try it a different order. Ta, ba, tha. Again, exactly the same underlying shape, but with the dots placed above and below in the different orders to give the different sounds of the letters. Ta, ba, tha. ثلاثة, ثاء, ba below, ta, two dots, tabatha. The Ruqa version, tha, the three dots are connected to form a pyramid, ba below, and the two dots for the ta are connected to form a straight line. Tabatha. Tabatha. Connect different ones now with the aleph. The aleph in the initial position does not connect, and it's usually associated with the hamza sound, the glottal stop. Athbata, ta at the end, two dots, ba, dot below, tha, three dots. Athbata. Again, a, glottal stop on the aleph. And again, the same basic shape when you connect these three letters. Tha, thalatha, athbata. In the Ruqa version, alif is exactly the same. And the tha, ba, ta, basic underlying form are the same. Connect the two dots of the ta and the three dots of the tha. Athbata. Alif, tha, ba, ta. Three dots, tha, two dots, ta, ba, tha. With the alif in the middle position, tha, alif, ba, ta. Two dots for the ta, ba below, three dots for the tha in the initial position. Thabit. Thabit. Note, the alif does not connect to what follows, connects to the preceding if the preceding letter connects. Therefore, the ba in the middle of the word will have an initial shape. Thabit. Thabit. And you make a distinction between the words and within the word and outside of the word, different words, by spacing. Note that the spacing between these two thabits are wider than the spacing between the alif and the ba. Thabit. Here the alif is in the next to last position. Note when a non-connector such as alif, it comes before the final letter, then the final letter will have an independent shape. So thabat, ta at the end has an independent shape because it does not connect to the alif, or rather the alif doesn't connect to it. Thabat. Two dots for the ta, ba below, tha, three dots. In the Ruqa version, the dots are connected. Tha, ba, alif, ta. Tha, ba, alif, ta.